Welcome to the deep dive. We take a stack of sources and we try to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of ancient Hindu astrology, and specifically excerpts from James Braha's book, Ancient Hindu Astrology for the Modern Western Astrologer.
Okay.
Ready to unlock some cosmic insights and maybe even glimpse into your past lives.
It's a rich system.
Yeah.
It blends planets, houses, and karmic influences to offer a really unique lens on your life's journey.
I'm already intrigued.
Yeah.
So to start our exploration, what are some fundamental differences between the Hindu and Western approaches to astrology?
Well, one key distinction is the zodiac itself.
Okay.
Hindu astrology uses the sidereal zodiac,
Okay.
which is fixed to the actual constellations.
Uh-huh.
Western astrology uses the tropical zodiac,
Yeah, okay.
based on the Earth's seasons.
So does that mean my star sign could be different in Hindu astrology?
Quite possibly. The
Yeah.
difference between the two zodiacs is called the ayanamsa, and it can shift your whole birth chart. And this is especially important for calculating the ascendant, or rising sign,
Okay.
which requires precise birth time.
Gotcha.
Even a slight variation can result in a different ascendant.
Wow. Talk about pressure to know your exact birth time. The book also mentions the Navamsa chart. What can we learn from that?
The Navamsa is a divisional chart that reveals deeper layers of your personality and karmic patterns,
Okay.
particularly influencing marriage and partnerships.
Uh-huh.
So it's like looking at the potential within those areas.
A sort of karmic blueprint for relationships? Okay, let's move on to the planets. What role do they play in Hindu astrology?
In Hindu astrology, the planets are called grahas, and they act as key players, each with unique personalities and roles in your life.
Yeah.
Think of them as archetypal energies,
Okay.
influencing different aspects of your being.
So it's not just about what sign a planet is in, but also about its inherent qualities, right?
That's right.
How about we take Mars as an example? In Western astrology, it's often associated with aggression, but the book suggests it's more nuanced in Hindu astrology.
That's right.
Okay.
While Mars does represent drive and assertiveness,
Mm-hmm.
it also encompasses ambition, courage, and even military prowess.
Okay.
A weak Mars doesn't necessarily mean you're aggressive,
Mm-hmm.
but it might indicate a lack of drive or motivation.
That's interesting. So it's more about how we channel that Martian energy, right?
Exactly.
How about Mercury? How does its role in Hindu astrology differ from its typical association with communication and intellect?
Hindu astrology adds the domains of trade, commerce, and even the nervous system
Oh, wow.
to Mercury's portfolio.
Okay.
So those who excel in business, communication, or have a particularly quick wit likely have a strong Mercury influence in their charts.
That makes sense. What about Jupiter? It's often seen as the planet of luck and abundance,
Right.
but the book hints at a deeper meaning.
In Hindu astrology, Jupiter's influence is also thought to reflect your past life karma.
Specifically, the good fortune you may have accrued through actions in previous lives.
Okay.
It's like a karmic bank account, you know?
Yeah.
Showing the blessings you've earned.
So a strong Jupiter could suggest a lot of good karma from past lives. How would that show up in a person's life?
A strong, well-placed Jupiter often brings opportunities for growth, expansion, and good fortune. But it's not just about material wealth. It can also manifest as wisdom, generosity, and a positive outlook on life.
That's a pretty sweet deal. Okay, let's shift gears to Venus. It's typically associated with love, beauty, and pleasure, but what else does it represent in Hindu astrology?
Venus also embodies refinement,
Okay.
artistic talent, sexuality, and even mathematical skill.
Oh,
So a strong Venus can indicate someone who is not only charming and aesthetically inclined,
right.
but also possesses a sharp mind for numbers and logic.
Venus the mathematician.
Yeah.
Now that's a fascinating combination.
Yeah.
Speaking of contrasts, what about Saturn? It's often seen as the planet of limitations and hardship. While Saturn does represent restrictions, challenges, and the need for discipline,
Right.
it's also the planet of spiritual growth, longevity, and mastery through effort. You know, it's through facing Saturnian challenges
Yeah.
that we often achieve our greatest triumphs.
So it's about learning valuable lessons and developing resilience.
Exactly.
It's interesting how even the planets that are typically seen as difficult have their positive aspects. Now, the book mentions the lunar nodes, Rahu and Ketu. What exactly are they, and why are they considered important in Hindu astrology?
Rahu and Ketu aren't physical planets,
Okay.
but rather sensitive points where the moon's orbit intersects the sun's path.
Interesting.
They're thought to amplify energy and often bring sudden events or karmic lessons into our lives.
Sounds like they could shake things up a bit.
He can.
How do they influence our experiences?
Rahu is associated with worldly desires, ambition, and the pursuit of material fulfillment,
Okay.
while Ketu represents spiritual seeking,
Okay.
detachment, and the dissolution of ego attachments.
Mm.
Their placement in your chart can reveal areas where you might experience sudden changes or karmic tests.
So they add an element of unpredictability and challenge us to grow in specific areas.
Yeah.
Now that we've explored these planets, where do their energies actually play out in our lives?
Think of the 12 houses or bhavas as the stages where these planetary traumas unfold.
Okay.
Each house represents a different area of life,
Okay.
like home, career, relationships, and so on.
So a planet's energy would manifest differently depending on the house it occupies. Absolutely. Give us some examples.
Absolutely. Let's take the 4th house, for example.
Okay.
It's not just about your physical home and family.
Right.
It also represents your emotional foundation,
Hmm.
sense of security, and even the passions of your heart.
Okay.
So a benefic planet like Jupiter in the 4th might suggest a happy and supportive home life,
Yeah.
while a challenging planet like Saturn
Right.
could indicate struggles with family or feelings of rootlessness.
That's interesting. Are there any other houses that offer particularly unique insights?
The 5th house is a fascinating one.
Okay.
It governs creativity, children, and your past life credit, known as Purva Punya.
Hmm.
This suggests the talents and abilities you've brought from past lives.
So are you saying my knack for writing poetry could be a gift from a past life?
It's a fascinating possibility.
Yeah.
The 5th house can offer clues to our inherent talents and how we express ourselves creatively.
Okay, I'm definitely going to be pondering that one. What about the 8th house?
Oh, the 8th house.
It often gets a bad rap for being associated with death and transformation.
While the 8th house does govern those themes,
Uh-huh.
it's also about longevity, inheritance, occult knowledge, and even the wealth of your spouse.
Okay.
It's a house of profound transformation and regeneration.
It sounds like there's a lot more to it than meets the eye.
Definitely.
So we have all these planets in different houses.
Right.
How do they actually interact with each other?
They interact through aspects, also known as drishalas in Hindu astrology, and through planetary friendships and enmities.
I'm guessing those relationships can get pretty complex. Can you explain how these aspects work?
Imagine the planets as having lines of sight.
Okay.
These lines of sight form geometric angles between them, which are called aspects.
Okay.
These aspects can be harmonious,
Uh-huh.
creating a flow of energy,
Okay.
or they can be challenging,
Yeah.
creating friction or tension.
So the specific angle between two planets influences how their energies interact.
Precisely.
That makes sense. What about planetary friendships and enmities? How do those play into the mix?
Just like people, planets have affinities and aversions.
Uh-huh.
Some planets are considered friends,
Right.
supporting and enhancing each other's energies.
Okay.
Others are considered enemies, creating conflict or blocking each other's influence.
That's fascinating. So a planet might be stronger or weaker depending on its relationship with other planets in the chart. It sounds like there are so many layers to consider.
That's the beauty of Hindu astrology. It offers a truly holistic view of your cosmic makeup.
I'm already starting to see how each piece of the puzzle fits together.
Yeah,
But before we dive into the nitty-gritty of prediction,
right.
there's one more concept I'd like to touch upon: yoga karakas.
Oh, yes.
The book suggests they hold a special significance in chart interpretation.
Absolutely. A Yoga Karaka is a planet that becomes incredibly beneficial based on the houses it rules.
Yeah.
Think of it as a planet that has a special talent
All right.
for creating success and fulfillment in certain areas of life.
So having a yoga karaka in your chart is like having a cosmic cheerleader rooting for you.
In a way, yes.
Okay.
It bestows a particular strength and ability
Uh-huh.
to manifest positive outcomes in the areas related to the houses it governs.
Now that's a planetary placement I'd love to have. Okay, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this first segment.
We have.
It's amazing how much depth there is to this system.
We've only just begun to scratch the surface.
Oh, goodness.
There's so much more to explore in the world of Hindu astrology.
Well, I'm definitely ready to dive deeper.
Yeah.
Stay tuned as we unravel the mysteries of prediction
Yeah.
and delve into how these concepts play out in real life.
Sounds good.
We'll be back shortly with more fascinating insights from James Braha's book. In the meantime, consider this. If you could choose one planet to be your personal yoga karaka,
Oh,
which one would you choose and why?
that's a good one.
So we've explored the building blocks of Hindu astrology,
Right.
the planets, the houses, and their fascinating interplay.
Yeah.
Now let's dive into the heart of the matter, prediction.
Okay. Prediction is an integral part of Hindu astrology,
Oh, okay.
but it's a lot more nuanced than just reading, your daily horoscope.
Right.
It's about understanding the potential influences at play
Yeah,
and how you can navigate them consciously.
that makes sense. We talked about the Dasa system earlier, which sounds like a fascinating way to understand the unfolding of one's life. Can you walk us through how it works?
The Dasa system divides your life into planetary periods,
Okay.
each ruled by a specific graha.
Okay.
Each Dasa period lasts for a certain number of years, and during that time, the ruling planet's energy colors your experiences, influencing your actions, decisions, and overall life direction.
So it's like having different planetary CEOs running your life at different times.
That's a good way to put it.
What would it be like, say, to experience a Jupiter Dasa?
A Jupiter Dasa is generally considered favorable,
Okay.
often bringing opportunities for growth, expansion, and good fortune.
Yeah.
It's a time when things tend to flow more smoothly,
Right.
and you might find yourself attracting abundance and blessings.
That sounds pretty lovely. But I imagine not all Dasa periods are quite so rosy. What about a Saturn Dasa?
A Saturn Dasa can be more challenging,
Okay.
often associated with introspection, limitations, and karmic lessons.
Okay.
It can be a time of tests and trials, pushing you to learn valuable lessons and cultivate resilience.
So it's like Saturn's cosmic boot camp, pushing us to grow through tough love.
Exactly.
Are the transitions between these Dasa periods sudden, or do they unfold gradually?
The transitions can be subtle, with the previous planet's influence gradually waning as the new planet takes over. You might not even realize you've entered a new Dasa period until you start noticing subtle shifts in your life patterns and priorities.
That's interesting. So by understanding the Dasa system, you could anticipate those shifts and navigate them more effectively. Does this mean a skilled Hindu astrologer could predict major life events based on these Dasa periods?
The Dasa system is a powerful tool for understanding the timing of events
Okay.
and the unfolding of your life's purpose.
Right.
But it's important to remember
Yeah.
that Hindu astrology emphasizes free will.
Right.
It's not about predicting your destiny,
Okay.
but about providing insights into potential influences so you can make conscious choices.
So even during a challenging Saturn Dasa, we
Right.
still have the power to shape our experiences.
Easy.
It's empowering to know we're not just at the mercy of the planets.
Exactly. We can
Yeah.
work with these energies constructively.
Okay.
Now, besides the Dasa system,
Right.
the book also mentions transits
Yeah.
as a key element of prediction.
That's a good question. I'm curious about that too. It sounds like transits are more about the current movement of the planets, right?
Yes, transits involve observing the movement of planets through the zodiac in real time and how they interact with your birth chart.
Okay.
As planets move, they form aspects to the planets in your birth chart, triggering certain energies and events in your life.
So it's like watching the planets create cosmic weather patterns that we experience here on Earth.
That's a great analogy.
Some transits would be more significant than others, depending on the planets involved and the aspects they form.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For example, a Jupiter transit to your Venus
Okay.
might bring opportunities for love, joy, and creativity,
Yeah.
while a Saturn transit to your Mars
Oh.
could stir up challenges related to assertiveness, energy levels, or conflict.
It sounds like understanding transits can provide valuable insight into why certain themes or challenges arise at specific times.
Right.
Can Hindu astrologers use transits to predict specific events?
While transits can't predict events with absolute certainty, they can provide clues about potential opportunities and challenges. It's about recognizing the energies at play and making conscious choices
Right.
to navigate them in a way that aligns with your goals and aspirations.
So we have the Dasa system offering a long-term perspective, and transits providing a more immediate view of the cosmic weather.
Right.
It's like having a cosmic roadmap and a weather forecast combined.
That's a great analogy. These tools can help us understand the ebb and flow of life
Right.
and make the most of the opportunities and challenges that come our way.
Speaking of opportunities, the book mentions these intriguing planetary combinations called yogas and Raja yogas. What can you tell us about those?
Oh yeah, yogas.
Yes. Those definitely caught my attention. They sound incredibly auspicious.
Yogas are special planetary combinations in a birth chart
Okay.
that create powerful influences often associated with success, fortune, and spiritual growth.
Yeah.
A Raja Yoga, which translates to royal union, is considered even more auspicious,
Right.
suggesting exceptional success, leadership qualities, and spiritual attainment.
That sounds amazing. So having a Raja Yoga in your chart would be like having a cosmic VIP pass to success?
It certainly can bestow significant advantages in certain areas of life.
Okay.
However,
Yeah.
it's important to remember that these yogas don't guarantee outcomes.
Right?
They represent potentials
Yeah.
that need to be activated through effort and right action.
So it's like having a winning lottery ticket, but you still need to cash it in.
Exactly.
Can you give us some examples of what types of planetary combinations create these auspicious yogas?
A classic example of a Raja Yoga is formed when the lords of the 9th and 10th houses are connected in some way,
Okay.
either through conjunction, aspect, or mutual exchange. This can indicate success in areas related to higher learning, teaching, spirituality, leadership, and career achievements.
It's fascinating how these specific combinations can create such powerful synergies. Are there other types of yogas we should be aware of?
There are many different yogas described in ancient Hindu texts, each with its unique significations. For instance, a Parivartana yoga occurs when two planets exchange signs,
Right.
amplifying their energies and influencing both the houses they rule and occupy.
Right.
This exchange can create a dynamic interplay of energies, enhancing the qualities associated with those planets and houses.
So if Venus is in Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is in Taurus, ruled by Venus, that would create a Parivartana yoga.
Exactly.
What kind of influence would that have?
This particular combination could enhance artistic abilities,
Okay.
social skills,
Yeah.
and the ability to create beauty and harmony in one's life.
Right.
It could also bring success in fields related to business, finance, or design.
It's incredible how these yogas add another layer of depth and meaning to chart interpretation.
Definitely.
But what about those who discover challenging planetary placements or a lack of these auspicious yogas in their charts?
Right.
Does that mean they're doomed to a life of misfortune?
Not at all.
Okay.
Hindu astrology emphasizes free will
Uh-huh.
and the power of making conscious choices, even within the framework of karmic influences.
Okay.
It also offers a variety of remedies, known as upayas,
Right.
to mitigate the negative effects of challenging placements
Okay.
and enhance the positive ones.
That's reassuring. I remember you mentioned these remedies earlier. Can you remind us how they work?
Upayas are practices
Okay.
designed to work with planetary energies constructively.
Okay.
They can involve using gemstones, chanting mantras, performing specific rituals,
Right.
or engaging in acts of charity.
Okay.
The idea is to consciously shift your energy
Uh-huh.
and align yourself with a more harmonious flow.
So if someone has a weak or afflicted Mars, they might wear red coral, chant a Mars mantra, and perhaps donate to a cause associated with courage or physical strength.
Precisely.
Okay? It's about working with the energies consciously to create balance and invite positive outcomes.
Right.
Remember, Hindu astrology is not about fatalism.
Right.
It's a system that empowers you to understand yourself,
Yeah.
your potential,
Uh-huh.
and the cosmic influences at play so you can live a more fulfilling and meaningful life.
That's a powerful message. I'm starting to see how Hindu astrology can be a valuable tool for self-awareness and growth, not just for prediction.
That's one of its greatest strengths.
Yeah.
It offers a framework for understanding your karmic patterns and making choices that align with your highest potential.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into prediction,
We have.
from the Dasa system to transits and yogas.
Right.
It's amazing how much insight this ancient system offers. I'm eager to hear how these principles play out in real life.
That's what we'll be exploring in our final segment.
great. We'll delve into the charts of some fascinating figures
Right.
and see how these astrological concepts manifested in their lives.
Now that's what I call putting astrology to the test. Stay tuned as we unlock the cosmic secrets of some well-known personalities. We've explored the planets, the houses, the Dasa system, transits, yogas, the whole cosmic toolkit. Now let's see how these principles play out in the lives of some fascinating figures. I'm ready to put this ancient wisdom to the test.
It's always intriguing to see how these astrological concepts manifest in real-life stories. The book analyzes the charts of several well-known individuals,
Okay.
offering some compelling insights.
First up, Richard Nixon, a political heavyweight to say the least.
Yeah.
What stood out to you in his chart?
Nixon's chart reveals a powerful Saturn,
Okay.
which is exalted in his 10th house of career. In Hindu astrology, an exalted planet functions exceptionally well, bringing out its highest potential.
So his Saturn gave him that drive and ambition to reach the top, but his presidency wasn't exactly smooth sailing, was it?
No, it wasn't. Interestingly, his Saturn is also aspected by Mars,
Okay.
the planet of conflict and action.
Right.
This suggests a predisposition to face challenges, power struggles, and even aggression in his pursuit of power.
It seems like a classic Saturn-Mars combination, pushing him towards great achievements, but also creating turbulence along the way. The book also mentions his Mercury-Mars conjunction. How does that factor into the equation?
That particular aspect is often found in the charts of politicians and leaders.
Okay.
It suggests a sharp mind, strategic thinking, persuasive abilities, but also a potential for ruthlessness or even deception.
So a double-edged sword, to say the least. Are there any astrological insights into his infamous downfall?
During his downfall, he was in a Jupiter-Saturn period.
Okay.
Jupiter, while generally benefic, was afflicted in his chart.
Right.
And Saturn, although strong, rules his 6th house of enemies and obstacles.
So even his strengths represented by Saturn contributed to his downfall through its association with the 6th house. It's almost like a cosmic irony playing out.
It highlights how even the most favorable placements can have complex implications, depending on the overall chart dynamics and the timing of planetary periods.
That's a good reminder that astrology is never about simple black and white interpretations. Okay, let's shift gears to someone completely different. John Lennon, a musical icon, a peace activist, but his life also had its share of turmoil. What does his chart reveal?
Lennon's chart features a prominent Rahu,
Okay.
the North Node, in his ascendant.
Mm.
This placement often indicates someone who breaks boundaries, challenges conventions, and seeks fame or recognition.
That definitely fits his rebellious spirit and innovative approach to music.
However, Rahu can also bring challenges, especially when afflicted.
Right.
In Lennon's chart, Rahu is conjunct with Mars, suggesting a volatile nature,
Okay.
a tendency towards impulsiveness, and a potential for conflict.
And his personal life wasn't always peaceful either, was it?
No, it wasn't. His 7th house of relationships is ruled by Jupiter, which is poorly placed in his chart. This, combined with the South Node, K2,
Nice.
being in his 7th house, suggests a predisposition to relationship struggles and instability.
So even with all his talent, charisma and idealism relationships seem to have been a difficult area for him. What about his spiritual side? Did his chart reflect that aspect of his life?
Interestingly, his Saturn aspects both his ascendant and his sun. This combination often suggests a strong inclination towards introspection, self-discipline,
Right.
and spiritual seeking.
It's fascinating how the planet, often associated with limitations and challenges, can also guide us towards spiritual growth. Okay, next up, JFK, charisma tragedy, and a bit of scandal too.
Yeah.
What secrets does his chart hold?
JFK's chart features a powerful 9th house,
Okay.
governing luck, philosophy, and foreign travel.
Right.
It contains both Venus, the planet of pleasure and diplomacy,
Okay.
and Jupiter, the planet of expansion and opportunity.
So those placements might have contributed to his charm, his good fortune, and even his involvement in international affairs.
Quite possibly.
Hmm.
However, his 7th house of marriage is ruled by an afflicted Jupiter, which could suggest marital challenges and a lack of stability in partnerships.
It seems like relationship struggles are a recurring theme in the charts of these famous figures.
It does highlight how even those blessed with success, charisma, and power can face difficulties in their personal lives.
That's a good reminder that no one's life is perfect, regardless of their outward appearances. Okay, last but not least, Marilyn Monroe. A timeless beauty, a cultural icon, but also a tragic figure. What does her chart tell us?
Monroe's chart is quite striking, with a powerful moon in her 7th house of relationships aspecting her ascendant.
Okay.
The moon represents emotions,
Right.
and its placement in the 7th house, especially aspecting the ascendant, often bestows great beauty,
Yeah.
charm, and a magnetic presence.
That definitely aligns with her captivating persona and the way she captivated audiences.
Yeah.
But there's also a deep sadness to her story, isn't there?
There is. Her moon is in its fallen sign, Scorpio, which can suggest emotional intensity, volatility, and challenges finding stability in relationships.
And her life was tragically cut short. Does her chart offer any insights into that?
Her 8th house,
Okay.
which governs longevity and transformation,
Right.
is ruled by an afflicted Mercury, suggesting vulnerability in that area.
It's heartbreaking to see those astrological echoes of her struggles.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you realize that even with fame and fortune, life can be incredibly complex and challenging.
These real-life examples are both fascinating and humbling. They remind us that we all face our own unique set of challenges and triumphs,
Yeah.
and that astrology can offer a lens through which to understand those experiences.
I completely agree. It's been an incredible journey exploring these concepts and seeing how they play out in the lives of others.
We've only scratched the surface of this ancient system,
Oh, right?
but hopefully you've gained a deeper appreciation for the wisdom it offers.
I know I have. A huge thank you to our listeners for joining us on this deep dive into the world of ancient Hindu astrology.
And remember, the stars are not there to dictate our lives,
Right.
but rather to guide us.
Yeah.
The power to shape your destiny ultimately lies within you.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep looking up.